This morning, we have reports of Israeli tanks and military vehicles in a residential district in Gaza City. This is part of the promised ground offensive the IDF said is to confront Hamas. This week, a UN independent commission found Israel has committed genocide in Gaza.
The ongoing genocide in Gaza is a moral outrage and a legal emergency.
A two-year investigation by the United Nations Commission of Inquiry found the war in Gaza fulfills 4 of 5 genocidal acts described in international law. Israel has rejected the report, calling it distorted and false. For a closer look at what this report means on the ground is Michael Link, Associate Professor at Western University, also a former UN Special Rapporteur for the situation of human rights in the Palestinian territories. Michael, this is not the first time an organization has said there is genocide in Gaza in this war. International aid groups, including Amnesty International, Doctors Without Borders, various genocidal scholars have called what's happening a genocide. This also includes the International Association of Genocide Scholars specifically. So when it comes to consequences or even changes in the course of action of what we're seeing today, what weight does this latest report carry?
Thank you for having me, Anne-Marie. This, I think, is a very consequential report. It's coming from an established UN Commission of Inquiry. It's been around since 2021. The report that it delivered on Tuesday is 72 pages long, 495 footnotes. It's rich in its assembly of facts, and it views the whether or not a genocide has occurred through the established legal framework under the 1948 Genocide Convention. So I think this brings a particular stamp of authority to this. I think this report will be consequential in debates this fall, both at the UN General Assembly and at the UN Human Rights Council, which sits in Geneva as well. I think this report will have considerable influence in the arguments that are going to be heard next year in front of the International Court of Justice in The Hague, which is the UN's highest judicial body, on an application brought by South Africa against Israel under the Genocide Convention as to whether or not Israel has been committing genocide in Gaza. So all of this together, I think, means this is one of the most important of the reports that have been released on this issue so far.
Michael, I think what confuses and in some cases frustrates people is that it doesn't seem to carry any consequence. So Israeli officials have responded to the inquiry's findings. They said they were fake and scandalous. How will this report affect the international community, and what consequence will it actually carry on the ground?
Sure. Well, let's remember that the issue of Palestine, Israel, and Gaza has become a major fracture point between the global south and the global north. This report, I think, will be received well by a number of countries in the global south, which has the majority of the UN members in the General Assembly. It will probably put more pressure on many leaders in the global north who have yet to use the word genocide. I'm thinking of countries in Europe, in North America, Australia, Japan, and so on. They've been reluctant to want to use the G word because if they did say this is a genocide, it actually compels a number of legal responsibilities under the Genocide Convention for them to do all that they can to bring a genocide or a potential genocide to an end. And that's why I think they're going to review this with caution, but I think many in their population are going to continue to pressure them. Opinion polls do show that there's a growing number of people in the global north, including in Canada, who believe this is a genocide.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, Michael, the report has its findings and they publish them, but then it's up to the member states to decide whether or not they agree with the findings or whether they're stating them in order for any action to be executed. Is that correct?
That's correct.
In this report, the Commission writes all states, as you've outlined, all states have an obligation to prevent and punish genocide wherever and whenever it occurs or may occur. The duty to prevent genocide obligates states to take all necessary steps to try to avoid or stop the commission of genocide. Israel is a member of the United Nations. It's been so since 1948. What steps could Canada or other countries take to change the actions that are described specifically in the report?
Well, first of all, Canada being a signatory to the 1948 Genocide Convention, as well as to the 1998 Rome Statute, which created the International Criminal Court and which contains the same definition of genocide, that means that Canada, among all other countries, has both a negative duty and a positive duty when it comes to the allegation of genocide being taken seriously. First of all, we have a negative duty not to be complicit in aiding or assisting a military power or a state from committing genocide. That means ending any arms sales or maybe looking at suspending free trade agreements. We also have a positive duty to rally with all other signatories to the Genocide Convention and the Rome Statute to do all that we or they can to bring a genocide to an end as swiftly and effectively as possible. So those are all issues on the table. You're going to see, as I said, the continued reluctance of global north countries as to what to do. But one consequence might be, perhaps not in this fall session of the General Assembly, but in a year from now, you may see, if Israel has not changed its behavior with respect to Palestine and Gaza, that there will be a move, largely coming from members of the Global South, to suspend the credentials of Israel in the United Nations until it finds itself on the right side of international law.
Michael Link, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Anne-Marie, for having me.
If you like that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.